I was lost in thought, with a towel loosely wrapped around my damp body. My bedroom was warm, the soft glow from the vanity mirror flickering as I stepped out of the bathroom. I could hear the music and laughter from downstairs, the party in full swing when the door swung open. I gasped, clutching the towel instinctively. Christian stood in the doorway. For a moment, neither of us moved. His eyes flickered over me before he quickly looked away, swallowing hard. My breath was shallow, my heart pounding, not just from surprise. The towel slipped slightly, exposing part of my chest. "You should knock," I murmured, my voice soft but not scolding. Christian blinked, gripping the doorframe. "I didn't know you were—" His voice trailed off. His gaze returned to me, lingering. The moment stretched, charged, something unspoken crackling between us. I exhaled slowly. Instead of sending him away, I turned, reaching for the dress laid on the bed. Then I dropped the towel. For the briefest moment, time seemed to stop. The cool air kissed my bare skin, a stark contrast to the heat prickling over me. I felt his eyes on me, a sharp, involuntary intake of breath from Christian breaking the silence. His entire body tensed, caught between looking and looking away. His gaze, dark and wide, flickered across my exposed body before he snapped his head to the side, exhaling shakily. He should have turned and left. He didn't. Slowly, deliberately, I slipped into the fabric of my dress, letting it glide over my skin, giving him a show that he didn't seem to mind. I smoothed it down, then looked over my shoulder. "Help me with the zipper?" There was a hesitation. His jaw tightened. But then he stepped forward. His fingers trembled slightly as he gripped the zipper, dragging it up my spine. I felt his breath hitch, sensed his struggle to remain composed. Then, deliberately, I took his hand and guided him in a gentle touch to my waist, then up further to my chest. I let him play there for a slow minute. A shudder rolled through him as I pressed his palms flat against my body, leading him downward, beyond the line of propriety. His breath stuttered, then he found his rhythm. His fingers moved with a mastery that let me know he was not new to this. I gasped for air, enjoying his rhythm. I didn't stop him. I didn't want to. Outside, the sound of laughter swelled, a reminder of the world beyond this room. But here, in this charged space, only our breaths existed. Then, a voice called from downstairs, my husband's voice. I pulled away. Christian stepped back, exhaling sharply, his hands curling into fists at his sides. "Go," I whispered, barely audible. Christian hesitated, his dark gaze locked onto mine. But then he turned and disappeared down the hallway. From the top of the staircase, I watched Christian descend, running a hand through his hair, trying to calm the storm inside him. Just as he reached the bottom, "Christian?" he froze. My husband, his father, stood there. He eyed Christian curiously, a glass of whiskey in hand. "You all right?" Christian nodded, forcing a tight-lipped smile. "Yeah, just getting some air." My husband grunted, brushing past him, heading upstairs. Moments later, I stepped out of the bedroom, smoothing my dress as I met my husband in the hallway. "Everything okay?" he asked, studying me. I smiled, feigning innocence. "I was fixing my hair. Did you need me?" He hesitated, something about the moment unsettling him. His gaze flickered to the stairs where Christian had just been. Two separate incidents, moments apart. A strange coincidence, but with the party calling him back, he let it go. Hours passed. The party dwindled, guests leaving in drunken waves. My husband slumped on the couch, deep in sleep. Across the room, Christian lingered by the bar, nursing a drink, but his focus was elsewhere. On me. I didn't look at him directly, but he knew. I was waiting. I moved, slipping down the hallway. Christian followed. The laundry room was dimly lit, humming with the faint sound of the dryer. He barely stepped inside before I grabbed him by the collar, pulling him in, sealing the door behind us. The heat between us was instant. My hand pressed against his chest, pushing him back against the cool metal of the dryer. My lips hovered below his neck, my fingers threading through his body. His hands trembled as they landed on my waist before finding their way further down to the familiar territory he had explored earlier. Every second, every touch was reckless, electric, and consuming. The world outside dissolved into nothingness as we gave in, moving together in a slow, deliberate rhythm, each stolen moment deepening the pull between us. His breath mingled with mine, his hands memorizing every curve, every shiver of anticipation. I whispered his name, a quiet plea that made him falter, before we surrendered completely. A wave of pleasure consumed me, making me lose myself to him in complete surrender. I let out a hushed gasp, the dizzying sensation of release. I held him tight as I felt him finish. The intensity of it left us trembling, lingering in the aftershocks of what we had just done. I pulled away, my lips parted, my cheeks flushed. As I pulled myself together, I whispered against his lips, "No one can know. This is our little secret."